Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for coming to this On Track session. My name is Zach Bryan. I'm an academic advisor here at Pulaski Tech. Today I want to talk to you all about summer classes, because summer classes are an interesting thing. There's a lot of different things the students will want to know about summer classes, and so I want to explain a lot of those basic details just to give you all a sense of kind of how summer is set up. So the first question I want any student to ask themselves is, do I want to take summer classes? You know, it sounds like a simple enough question, but summer is kind of a different animal. It's optional. Students are not required to come to summer classes. But a lot of times it plays into maybe your own personal time frame for graduation, because everybody has that time frame that they want to graduate. Is it going to be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? How can summer classes help, accelerate your own time frame? And again, base this around what you want. Make sure it's not, what your peers are telling you or what family members are saying. Base it around what's going to be best for you. Do you want to take those math classes in the summertime? Do you want to take your comps in the summertime? What's going to be the way it's going to work for you? Now, in some cases, after an entire academic year, you just may be tired, you may be burned out, you may just need a break. And so that's all right too, but ask yourself that, could I use those few weeks to rest, get my mind right, and then come back fully recharged? Some students, they're just going to say, hey, keep me going, keep me busy. So again, you may fall into one of those two camps. The format is slightly different than fall and spring. Fall and spring are traditional 16, 15-week semesters. And so you have a long period of time that you can get classes in different ways. In summertime, they change it. In summertime, you'll either have a 4-week term or an 8-week term. So they're going to take 16 weeks worth of information and they're going to condense it into those time frames. Now, some classes are not offered in the summer as well, so that's one thing to consider. We'll go into a little bit more detail about that. And then lastly, your financial aid may not cover summertime. You may have used all available aid. You may not. But be sure to check with the financial aid advisor if you are getting aid to see what might be best for you and how those summer classes could be paid for. So on the top of that sheet, that little handout, you'll see that we kind of give a little summation of what summer courses are about. The first thing I want students to know about summer courses is that within each summer term, you're allowed to take up to 7 hours. That's the maximum amount of hours a student can take in summertime. Now during the fall and the spring, that maximum hourly amount is 18 hours. They adjust that because these are shorter time frames of classes. They're putting more class content in less space. And so again, that's why they cap it off at 7 hours. Now the thing that's kind of interesting is that the summer 1 term and the summer 1 extended term, you'll see those two on that sheet. Summer 1's at the top, summer extended's at the bottom. They come from the same hourly pool. So that means that your hourly total between daytime classes in summer 1 and online and evening classes are coming from that same pool. Now to kind of keep from anyone getting confused about that sort of stuff, I recommend the first question anyone asks themselves is, do I want to take daytime classes or evening classes? Based around that, or evening or online. Based on that question, it can help you decide how you want to structure your summer. So let's talk a little bit about how those classes are working. So say you want to be a daytime student. You want to continue taking classes during the day. You probably want to do summer 1 and summer 2. So summer 1 will start on May 28th. It'll end on June 24th. You'll have a few days to actually get a little break. And then summer 2 would start on July 1st and go to July 29th. Now each one of those is a 4-week semester or a mini term. The way that classes are structured is a little bit different as well. They're only going to have 3 blocks for times. You're going to have your 8 o'clock block, your 10 o'clock block, and your 12 o'clock block. You'll be in one of those 4-week classes 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday. If you're in a lab, like a biology lab during that time, in addition to those lecture times, you'll also have a 3-hour lab time twice a week. So again, they're putting a lot of information down to a short amount of space. If you want to do online classes, you'll fall into that summer extended, the 8-week term. Now summer extended starts exactly when summer 1 starts, so that May 28th date is still important. However, summer extended is going to go all the way through summer 1, it's going to go into summer 2, and it's going to end on July 25th. So summer extended is sitting over all of summer 1 and summer 2. Now with summer extended courses, again, you can take your online classes, but you can also take your evening classes. So if you're an evening student, you'll have your Monday, Wednesday class, and maybe a Tuesday, Thursday class. Again, that lets you take 7 hours in 1 semester. And so think about that, depending on when classes work best for you. But someone taking 2 evening classes would be in class at least 4 days a week in summertime. So again, that's the big question I want everyone to ask themselves. Do you want to do daytime classes or do you want to do night or online? Remember that daytime classes are during summer 1 and summer 2, and they're 4 weeks long. So a lot of times people talk about, hey, I want to get into a fast track. I want to do like a fast track class. Summer classes are naturally faster classes. So you're going to be able to get through quite a lot of content in a short amount of time. A class again in summer 1 and summer 2 will be 2 hours a day, every day, for 4 weeks. And then you can take up to 7 hours again in summer 1, and then additional 7 hours in summer 2. So some students that want to be that full-time 12-hour student, you'll end up actually taking 2 classes in summer 1 term and 2 classes in summer 2. Now with those night and online classes in summer 1 extended, they're going to be 8 weeks. Now because that's one separate term in itself, a student couldn't take more than 7 hours in online classes. So keep that in mind too. If you want to be a full-time online student, then the maximum amount of hours you can take is 7 online. And they're going to meet twice a week probably, and you still have that 7-hour requirement. Now classes offered for summer, they're usually very general classes. So you're going to have your developmental classes, your English composition type classes, history classes, psychology classes, math classes, things that are pretty popular and show up on a lot of different degree plans. Those are the things that are going to be offered during the summertime. And so if there are some gen eds that you want to get out of the way, summertime is a great time to knock some of those out and then continue on during the fall and spring. Technical industrial classes are typically not offered in the summertime, so things like our automotive classes, our welding classes, HVAC, machining, those sorts of classes, they're not offered in the summer. But sometimes like a tech math or a tech comm will be offered in the summertime. Now in addition to all the classes that we're offering as far as like credit classes, there's also a really cool program that Academic Success is doing, and they've been doing, I guess now for the past 2 years. It's the Summer Bridge program. If you haven't heard about the Summer Bridge program, I'm glad to be able to share it with you because it's a pretty amazing program. Imagine like a 1-week intensive study course. It's kind of like a math boot camp. But then also imagine that it's free. You're not going to pay anything to participate in this program. So the week after classes get out, they'll start having, well actually now they'll have applications for the Bridge program. But the week after classes get out, you'll be able to start that Bridge program. You'll have one of the Academic Success faculty lead the program. At the beginning of the week, you'll take a Compass to kind of assess where everybody is in the class. At the end of the week, after the entire curriculum that you've had, you'll end up being able to take the Compass again for free. Now, we've seen students test out of various sections of developmental math into college algebra. But even students that don't test into other sections still appreciate the class because they are able to get even more math tutoring. It's still a great way to supplement your own math knowledge. And for other subjects too. I believe for this summer though they're doing math. But again, think about that. If you're looking to test out, a lot of times students want that time frame to be a lot quicker. Well, think about that Bridge program. And applications are available now. They have an Academic Success, but we also have them in the Advising Center that they give us. But be looking for that. You'll end up turning that application into Academic Success. But I can't stress how great of a program that is. It's a really good way to speed up that math time frame. Now, just a little bit about financial aid. We're not financial aid advisors. We know just enough to be dangerous, but I do want to tell everyone, a few things. There's no separate summer Pell Grant. There used to be, a few years ago, where you could actually be eligible for an entire separate disbursement of summer Pell aid. They no longer do that. Different programs may offer summer aid, depending on if you get, some support from FAFSA type programs like loans, if you're doing VA benefits, different scholarships. Be sure to look into what your program would want for you. So depending on whoever's financing, whoever's funding that financial aid, they may have different criteria you need to meet. But again, I can't stress enough that if you're thinking about taking summer classes, do talk to a financial aid advisor to see what they're going to want, what criteria you might need to meet in order to be eligible for that. So on the back of that handout, there's a few helpful tips, and I would want to share those with you all too. When thinking about summer classes, try to play to your strengths. What subjects do you gravitate toward? What subjects do you enjoy, you have a passion for, that you can do in a short amount of time that wouldn't feel like it's just, trying to balance so much. So if math's not necessarily your thing, maybe math's not the best class to take during the summertime. If you love math and you just can't wait to get more math, well then maybe that's the perfect thing. And again, everyone's going to have their own preferences. But say you're just really interested in visual arts. Like, hey, summertime would be a great time for me to take a visual arts class. Well, that'd be good, because again, you already have the interest there. And that's usually the big thing. Students ask me, hey, what's a good class to take during the summertime? And that's a tricky question because it depends on what they're interested in. So I'll try to talk to a student about, well, what do you like? What's something that seems interesting? I've had a student before that was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and take my literature class because I'll have more downtime during the summertime and I can read all those stories, and it'll kind of fit within my schedule. I was like, well, that's a great rationale. That's a great reason to take a class because that student knew themselves and kind of their learning strategies and the time that they have in the summertime. And some of us don't have a lot of free time in the summer, so that might not be a good idea. But again, it's weighing those pros and cons. I do recommend to try to have a balanced schedule, and that's with any semester. Balance out a math class with a history class and an English class. Kind of have that variety in your schedule so you're not taking 4 social sciences all at the same time or 4 lab sciences at the same time. So think about that variety that you're building into that schedule. Don't mix classes with night and online, like day classes and online classes, unless you just have to. Unless it's a matter of graduating by the summertime, I'd recommend staying with a pace that's pretty familiar. So sticking with the daytime classes or sticking with the evening or the online classes. You are able to mix and match. I don't necessarily advise it just because if a student takes one summer 1 class during the 4-week session, they take 1 online class, and they take 2 summer 2 classes during the daytime. By the time that summer 2 session starts, you'd actually be in 3 classes in the summertime. Again, it's possible, but I don't necessarily recommend it just because of the volume of work that you'll get every day. So on top of the stuff that you've been doing every day for 4 hours, you'll have your homework from those classes, and then you'll have the online class to navigate as well. So it's a lot different than if you were balancing that sort of stuff in the fall. Because again, that time frame is so much smaller. So I just try to advise everyone about that. Lastly, every day counts. Because it's an abbreviated schedule, because it's only 4 weeks long, don't miss class. 1 day is roughly 1 week in the summer and 1 in the summer 2 session. Just because they're going very briskly. So 2 hours of class time you've already had in 1 day. I mean, if you miss, imagine a few days, it's going to feel like, wow, this is a whole new class when you get back. So think about that sort of stuff too. If you know that you're going to be gone a lot during the summertime, if there's going to be any reason that you may not be able to attend, weigh that before you sign up for those classes, because those instructors will still have admissions requirements or attendance requirements that they'll have to keep. So the summer 1 registration period is from April 2nd until May 23rd. So you do have that window to add classes. Wait, just one more thing. Grades have to be posted and visible on your portal by May 16th. Instructors will have to turn in those grades by May 13th at 3 p.m. So some instructors may post those grades earlier, but just know at the very latest, you'll be able to see your grades on May 16th. The first day that new students and transfer students can register is May 22nd. So that still gives you a good window to only have to compete with current students as opposed to brand new students at Pulaski Tech. So just know that everybody's waiting for those prerequisites. Well, everybody, thank you so much for your time. I hope this was a little enlightening about summer classes. If you have more questions, please come by and see us.